Hi, guys. Let's get into a reading. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes, and to those of you who have booked a personal reading with me. Please keep in mind that these are general messages, so do not take them personally. Take the messages that resonate and leave the rest behind. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can find the information in the description box below. Let's get into it. So, I do have a few channel messages. The message that I have for this reading, I received anything that you don't offer your respect to naturally or reciprocally becomes a slave to your desires. Let's get into what that means, right? What message do you have for the collective at this time regarding this channel message? Help me to articulate a clear and concise message in order for it to be received in the way that you want it to best be received. Help me to see what it is that I need to see to get the message across as clear as possible. And help me to deliver any messages that you deem worthy in order to serve your highest good, for the highest good of humanity with harm to none. What message do you have for the collective at this time as it relates to this channel message? Anything that you don't offer respect to naturally or reciprocally becomes a slave to your desires. That means, like, if you are asking or requiring something of anything, a situation, look, and the first card out is what? Receptivity. Receptivity. You cannot make this shit up. Unveiling. There's an attention. Anything that you don't offer your respect to naturally or reciprocally becomes a slave to your desires. Right? Knowledge. The more that you know. It's almost like, oh my God, it's coming out too easy. Let me give me a second for me to put it into words. Usually I take these off before I start the reading. A little cleansing, a little love for you. Clarify receptivity. It's almost like, again, there is an awareness, a knowing. Something is being brought to your attention, or you're being made. It's being made very clear to you what it is that you're giving to and where it is that you're receiving from, right? And if those are two different aspects, if you are not giving love, attention, respect, discipline, commitment, discernment, right? Whatever it is, any type of currency that requires nurturing and growth for something to live in its abundant form, right? If you are expecting to receive something from that, it's only natural and respectful that you give to that same thing that you're asking to receive something from. Because if you do not naturally give to what it is that you are expecting to receive something from, it's not a balanced effort and it will not be sustainable. You will not be able to fully receive what you are looking to get from something in its most honest and its most authentic and most vulnerable state, right? Because even if from the beginning that is what you are experiencing based off of just the character of what it is that you're looking to receive from, right? I hope that you're following me. Once you stop, once it becomes an imbalanced exchange, right? Where you are receiving more than what you're giving, or vice versa. One aspect of that connection, relationship, whatever it is going to I'm trying to figure out how to put this into a respectful word. It's going to retreat, I'll say, right? It will wither is the word. I'll say that. It will, whatever it is that you're looking to receive from, if you're not giving to it naturally in the way that you're expecting to receive, it will wither because you're draining the life force from it without pouring back into it. How can you expect something? I lost my train of thought. I had to pause the video for a second. Clarify receptivity. Clarify receptivity. The Tower and the Queen of Swords with the Ace of at the bottom of the deck. Whatever you do not pour your efforts back into, that you know it will fall, crash and burn. This message is pretty clear. I don't know if this will be, if this will be a long one. I think the message is pretty much the message. Your efforts have to match what it is that you are expecting to receive. Okay. Let's clarify the Tower. I don't think this needs any more clarification, but we'll see if we can. Yeah. If you don't make it clear, you're self-sabotaging. You're doing it to yourself. Something that and it's almost as if, like, again, it's connected to your desires. So it's obviously something that you are connected to spiritually. But if the choices that you make don't align with your like if your actions and the choices that you make aren't aligning to what you feel or are connected to spiritually, you will drain the very thing that fulfills you. And when that well runs dry, you will be a victim to your addictions, right? Unless you learn to balance that sense of overconsumption. And however this resonates for you, right? This can be, again, a situation, an experience, an environment, a person, a place, a career, a hobby, whatever it is for you, however this resonates for you, there has to be equal and balanced reciprocity for it to be fair and an even exchange. If any aspect is out of balance, out of order, you're taking from the very thing that's giving you life, draining the life force from the very thing that you're seeking life from, right? And that almost never ends well for either parties, right? Not because let me be careful with how I express this. If the life force that you are receiving from doesn't learn to sustain oneself, then it will essentially willingly give away its life, right? I'm hoping this is making sense the way that it's coming through. It seems like such a simple message, and I'm trying not to overcomplicate it. Clarify unveiling. I think I'm gonna just leave it at the simplicity. The Ace of Swords, confirmation of truth. On unveiling, you're aware. That means that you're aware that you are remaining in the balance. you're aware that you're choosing to remain in the balance between two existences, right? Yet you're still hoping to receive some sort of guidance, some sort of confirmation from either place as a sense of firm direction. When it's not up to the universe to choose for you, it's up to you to make the decision for your life. If you're choosing to take more than what you give, that's the choice that you're taking. And the choice that you're taking is to be a victim to your addictions, to your bad habits, to your past traumas, to your insecure ways, um, to overthinking, to anxiety, to depression, to receiving too many opinions, to receiving it, it, you can't expect to receive something firm when you yourself are not firm in your choice, firm in your decision. There has to be a knowing. And it seems as, I mean, there is a knowing, right? Because on some subconscious level, you're very aware that you are taking more than you're giving, right? But because you're so consumed with what it is that you're receiving from this, in both places, you don't necessarily feel pressured, right? To make a firm decision until that tower is at your front door, right? Until the pieces of the foundation is crumbling, right? Clarify attention. The hangman and the star. And the star is in reverse because you're not paying attention to the areas that you are trying to heal but also turning away from, right? The hangman. Yeah, the hangman was in reverse as well. And then you have the two of swords, right? Because there's two truths, there's two worlds, there's two perspectives, there's two different paths, there's two lanes that you've got your foot in two worlds, right? And you can only straddle the fence for too long before you run into trouble, right? There's an awareness, there's a knowing that you have in what you're supposed to be giving to because of how much you're receiving from it. But because you're also still receiving from this separate path, you're not necessarily taking ownership of what it is that you are hoping to receive. It's almost as if like you're wishing for something, you're hoping for something, you're praying for something, begging for it to come and present itself in your life. And it's here, but your attention is turned away from it. You're actively choosing to ignore it. So the thing that you wished for, the thing that you created, the thing that is meant to help you move forward in this moment of your journey, you're actively turning away from it. And it's causing confusion in you because it's almost like you're acknowledging the difference between both worlds, but you also acknowledge the fact that they feed different parts of you. And so, because in this moment, you are not only receiving from the very thing that's meant to heal you, the very thing that is meant to um fulfill your hope, right? It's supposed to strengthen your faith. You're actively turning away from it because your other foot is still into worldly things that are feeding your addictions, that are feeding your bad habits, that are feeding the comfortability that you're afraid to move away from. And that's what's keeping you stuck. And because there's a almost like a stretch between these two worlds, the foundation is crumbling. Because if you don't choose a path, the universe will do it for you, right? Let's pull 4 cards. 1 card for what we can learn, that's the major lesson surrounding this message. 1 card for what we can meditate on, that's the focus of this message. 1 card for what we can create surrounding this message. And 1 card for what we can innovate, contributing to our growth and expansion surrounding this message. It's late, guys. I'm sorry. However, whenever this message probably won't be posted until next week, but it is very late at night. So my mind has been running all day. So I'm kind of fairy woman. Yeah. Learning how to choose a direction. Learning how to be firm in your direction and to know where it is that you're going based off of what it is that you're desiring to create, right? You have to know that your choices do affect the very thing that you are trying to give life to, or that you're hoping will present itself as a source of fulfillment in your life, right? 1 card for what we can create surrounding this message. Look, receptive came right back out. You have to know and be aware of creating a sense of safety, creating a sense of security, creating a sense of protection in all forms to what it is that you are trying to, or what it is that you feel is connected to your life source. Because this also feels like it's not just something that you are receiving from, yes, but it's also something that's directly connected to your sense, to your life force, right? It's connected to your passion, it's connected to your motivation. It almost serves as a muse in some aspects, right? It fuels your desires, it fuels your wants, it feeds your faith, right? It clarifies your vision. It gives you purpose. And if you don't pour into whatever it is that is giving you those things, then you'll start to feel disconnected from yourself. That's when you start to feel lost. That's when you start to have that sense of identity crisis. You start to self-sabotage everything around you, right? Because there's no discipline. There's a lack of clarity. There's a lack of purpose. You don't have that source of inspiration, right? You have to be aware of what you're giving and what you're receiving and how those two things are aligned. 1 card for what we can meditate on, that's the focus of this message. Independent and grounded, right? Again, meditate on how you are feeding this life force, right? How it is keeping you in that space of knowing who you are, right? Meditate on knowing what it is or where it is that you're desiring to go, so that you can build that confidence in yourself, right? So that you can release those insecurities, release those negative habits that cause you to self-sabotage what it is that you're trying to bring into this world, right? There's something I really can't explain the connection that I feel between these two things, right? Again, I don't know what this is for you, but it can be a career, it can be um I don't know what it is for you specifically, right? Because it's going to resonate for each of you differently. But there's such a connection and an alignment between the two. But there's also like a sense of, I do feel a sense of like weariness. Like it's not even like tired. It's like completely drained. Not to the point where there's no life at all, but to the point where it's in recovery mode, right? Because there's been so much pulling at this, so much tugging, so much like requiring so much from this one aspect, but then taking what you receive from this, and that is the message. You're taking something from one life force, right? And whatever it is that you receive from this one area, you're using it to fulfill your worldly desires, your bad habits, your addictions, your bad choices, your sense of self-sabotage, that imposter syndrome, that those insecurities. There's a mask that every time you take from this, you add another layer on to that mask. But you're using one life force, and so there's no reciprocity. There's only a sense of draining. You don't feel fulfilled. The thing that you are receiving from doesn't feel fulfilled. And the thing that you are hoping to, or the thing that you're feeding, isn't fulfilling. One card for the new cycles and habits we can innovate to contribute to our growth and expansion. Unrecognized, the goddess. Again, you gotta have some sense of awareness so that you release those insecurities that are keeping you stuck in between these two worlds, right? You got to have faith in yourself. You got to have a strong knowing in yourself. And you have to have discipline in, you have to have discipline in consistently getting to know yourself, and reflecting within yourself, so that you are conscious and aware of how you are giving and receiving in all aspects, right? If there's no reflection on your part, then you're only projecting, right? A mirror works two ways. And if you're not looking at yourself, then you're not aware of what it is that you're creating. You're only looking for the next opportunity in which you can receive from. And if you're not creating space for opportunities to align themselves with you, then you're only creating a gap between the life you're meant to serve, the life you're meant to live, and the life that you're currently walking in. That is the message that I have for you guys. I hope that it resonates. I know that if you made it to the end of this video, you have uh, received something from it. Thank you for watching. Bye.